Thank you very much. It is a great pleasure to be here in China. It's an amazing country. I've been here many times. I learn a lot from China in terms of where technology is, where technology is going. What I want to share with you today is a little bit of a view from a data point of view, what's happening in the West, and then maybe how it relates a little bit to China. In a lot of ways, I follow China as a leader of retail, where retail goes next. So it's such a pleasure to be among you and to experience the different technologies while I'm here. I've done this presentation all over the world. I continuously update it. You can find me on LinkedIn. I speak a lot about the future of retail and the future of technology in terms of how it's going to impact all of us. So let me jump in. So this first chart speaks to the mega trends that I see primarily in the West, but my guess is they've also have impacted the East. So in my view, retail has gone through four major mega trends. Prior to the 1970s, after World War II, consumerism took off, and the power of retail was in the manufacturers. So all the Procter & Gamble's and the Unilevers that made products, they were in charge because the mass production lines were extremely efficient. That changed in the 1970s with the advent of the barcode. The barcode in 1974 really moved retail to the next level and actually moved the power of retail to the retailer. And if you look at the history of Walmart, which became the world's largest retailers, they were one of the first to fully adopt barcode scanning as a logistics technology to become a lot more efficient. It changed again in 2007. The power of retail shifted to the consumer, and it was really Apple that drove it. Apple, with the advent of the smartphone, really gave the consumer to walk into any store and really change the dynamics of retail. And in my view, it changed again in 2022 with AI and artificial intelligence. I saw it in the previous presentation. I think it is revolutionary. It is really going to change retail and improve retail. The trigger in the West was ChatGPT. In 5 days, they had 1 million users. In 2 months, they had 100 million users, and it continues to explode. So retail continues to evolve. My view, artificial intelligence is going to make the consumer a much more powerful shopper, and they will actually dictate more what happens to retail next. Next, I want to share my 3 predictions, again, primarily from the West, that I thought you might find interesting in terms of what I think will happen to retail in this year and next year. So prediction number 1 is you cannot speak about retail and the future of retail without speaking about artificial intelligence. Worldwide, artificial intelligence will have a $9.2 trillion impact on the retail industry. A lot of it here in China. Retail is really being transformed by artificial intelligence. You can see that everyone is jumping in, 84% are jumping in, and more we're using AI as part of the shopping experience. And consumers are jumping in full throttle. This chart shows what are the game-changing technologies that AI is going to drive, or application. So the 4 that are most important are fraud detection and prevention, personalized shopping experiences, supply chain optimization, and artificial intelligence demand forecasting. Those are the game-changing applications. And as you can see, the retailers that have adopted the AI are 301% more likely to maintain profit leadership. Every major retailer is making AI part of their strategy. The second mega trend is the young consumers. And I saw this first in China, and it is now spreading to the rest of the world. The new consumers, the younger generation, are accelerating change and driving retail to another level. So, for example, what you see on here, they are the first to really adopt much more aggressively AI. So, Gen Z 20%, millennials 18%. They also want to use other platforms to shop. You can see social media platforms like TikTok is becoming a major shopping platform. And so social media in general becomes a way to shop. My favorite is the statistics about the Gen Zs. They're more worried about forgetting their phone than their wallet. So unlike older generation like me that are always looking for the wallet, they're looking for their phone, and their phone is the most valuable asset that they have, and they keep track of even more than their wallet. Younger generations are leading the mobile revolution. They're adopting mobile application much faster than older generation. They are also much more younger generation want to attack and learn new experiences, so they're willing to explore more, less conservative, and they also will switch brands quickly if they're not happy with a particular brand. That's really what it says. But my favorite statistics on this chart, younger generation are also more likely to steal as self-checkout than older generation. So 37% of Gen Zs admit that they've stolen items as self-checkout. 41% of millennials admit that they've stolen something as self-checkout. So that's the number 2 trend. The number 3 trend is retail is changing. Retail used to be just about the store and providing products in the store. Then it became e-commerce and providing products from distribution center. It's now becoming a way to explore additional ways to make money. So it's no longer just about the store, is what else can I do? So paid loyalty programs. So there's a retailer called Costco in the United States as a top 10 global retailer. Their majority of their profit and their livelihood is based on those loyalty programs, paying for the Costco membership. And that's true and across a lot of different ones. The other one that's exploding around the world is retail media networks, and this is advertising. It is exploding as a trend around the world, and that's advertising is appearing everywhere, including inside stores. As you can see in the United States, the percent of digital media ad spending is going to be 21% by 2028. So lots of focus on retail media networks in terms of that. So that's, to me, the lesson learned. And the best company that's done this the best is actually Amazon. Amazon started this trend, so they developed AWS to basically run the online store. They then became a seller of AWS to a bunch of other companies, including many retailers. And today, 70% of Amazon's profits do not come from the online store, they come from AWS. Amazon also generates about $40 billion from advertising outside of their traditional online stores. So these new revenue streams, Amazon paved the way, all other retailers are jumping in. So let me start wrapping up by telling you a little bit in terms of what the retail industry looks like. So I love the retail industry. I think you can tell I'm passionate about where this industry is going. And one of the reasons I love it is this chart. It is an industry that will continue to grow into the future. And China is a major driver of that in terms of what China has done in terms of the retail industry and the future of retail. E-commerce will continue to grow, but physical stores will still be a very important element of the retail mix. As you can see, worldwide e-commerce will reach 22.5% of total retail sales by 2028. That means 3/4 of the rest of the sales will still be in physical stores. So physical stores will still be very relevant into the future. One of the interesting parts of this chart is actually what's at the bottom. China will become the world's largest economy by 2050, as projected by Goldman Sachs. And as you can see, China is number one by the year 2050, followed by the United States and then India. And by 2075, the US is expected to become number three, with China and India becoming the world's largest economies. So you are actually, because of the size of the population, because of the many, many investments that you have made in technology, you are basically going to drive where this industry goes next. I can tell you I've followed China very closely. In terms of the, especially pre-COVID, all the innovations that you've driven, I do think you have a lot that you can teach the West in terms of how to do retail. So one of the things that I'm doing over the next few days is spending a lot of time in the local stores just to understand more where you are all taking the retail industry. So what does the store of the future look like? What do we see the store of the future looking like going forward? To me, the store of the future is some of the material that I saw earlier. In terms of the store of the future generates a lot of data. Everything in the store will be digitized. Everything in the store will be digitized, and you will be able to collect our information, and that could be point of sale, labor scheduling, planogram, RFID, even the health refrigeration, and so on. Everything is digitized. In my view, what you saw earlier in terms of artificial intelligence, it becomes a filter to really make sense of all that data and generate really valuable information. And so computer vision, big data, all those types of things, really the focus and the winning retailers will focus on the consumer. Remember how I started this presentation. AI and the smartphone have made the consumer much more powerful. The retailers that are winning are the ones that have figured out how to increasingly make that consumer shopper experience much more engaging. And so in my view, in the future, it's all about creating a brand ambassador of the consumer. When they walk in, they love the store, they want to tell everybody about the store, and they want everybody else to shop at that store. The magic, and I've seen this in a lot of global retailers, the winning retailers have also figured out that you also need passionate and brand ambassadors of the store associates, the actual people that work in the stores. They are the magic that actually delivers a lot of the value. And the future is all about how a brand ambassador store associate meets a brand ambassador consumer, and they have a conversation increasingly digital where they can instantly answer questions and encourage more buying. So that is the magic of the future of retail. And I think artificial intelligence is actually going to accelerate a lot of these trends in terms of making the consumer much smarter in terms of what they're shopping for, and also the stores much more easy, respond faster to what the consumer is asking. I can tell you, though, even the world's largest retailers, and I work with all of them. Next week, for example, I'll be at Walmart in the headquarters in the United States. They are trying to figure out how to get those store associates much more engaged with the consumers when they walk into the store. Because if they do that, especially in the highest profit location, they will drive up profits and they will drive up sales. So let me close with a little bit of a video in terms of what Sensormatic. So I'm also president, in addition to having an online presence and writing and a YouTube channel about the future of retail. I am the president of Sensormatic, and here I am driving some new solutions, and I want to describe them to you. So this is the store of that right now, and what we're showing is products are coming in. We know exactly from the DC what came in and what needs to go exactly to the shelf. We walk into the store, we are identified, we tell us about pickup. Retail media networks are part of the entrance and exits. RFID is providing real-time inventory intelligence. ReID is engaging the store associates. Then we have real-time RFID, understanding where all the products in the store, understanding who is stealing and where, and exactly what they stole at what time, and then providing all that valuable information to the actual store manager and store personnel. So we are here if you'd like to come and see us. We can share more about you. This presentation is yours. In fact, there's a brighter version of this, a longer version that we can also make available if you want.